Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is One of One, but you can call me Seven. And so now we're in a bit of a, I don't know, it's not limbo per se with the relationship between Alice and Shizuki. He seems to continue winning people over with his earnest and honest personality because he's, so different from anybody that a mage would expect, anybody who lives in the city would expect. And to be fair, he really is charming. Like, I do find him endearing. He's a good guy, but also not like the super duper good guy archetype or stereotype. He's not Deku or he's not Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, but he's a genuinely good person, but he's also like a bit of a dummy, a little bit empty behind the eyes. He's still earnestly learning and trying his best, but he doesn't completely understand. So anyway, we have a side story. It's not entirely in a new chapter. It's just one part of chapter 7 that they just gave to us, a book called Martha. So we're gonna start there. As always, I've been told now to read these in the order that I get them because it makes the most sense that way, so we will. Walking around the mansion at night often led to mysterious encounters. Oh, Mist might suddenly fill the hallway. Oh, or doors might appear and disappear, and just when Sojiro thought he had seen it all with pig-shaped shadows mending the carpet... Oh, what did it say? Birds flapping? You heard the sound of a bird's flapping coming from the sunroom. What's going on over there? As much as he had become accustomed to turning a blind eye to such occurrences, the sound of flapping wings in the sunroom was too much to ignore. And not just one bird or even two, it sounded like dozens, a whole flock. Yeah, shattered windows, broken glass. So he prepared for the worst. After grabbing a broom... Look at this, listen to this guy. So what his teacher said in school. You should all make sure to keep your rooms orderly and clean. Work ethic and self-discipline will have a positive impact on your surrounings. Think about it. Even in a nice neighborhood where there isn't much crime, it only takes one ill-kept house to send the whole block into a spiral of... That sounds... I don't know what the word for that is, but that sounds somewhat... I don't know. There's some intent behind this sentence is what I'm saying. I don't know. We all know a messy room will turn you into a criminal, but I better not catch any of you breaking windows in the hallway or going for a joyride on stolen motorcycles. I can't tell if he's joking or like being like a little serious. I don't know. School gangs had garnered a certain reputation among the youths. Broken windows lead to broken hearts. Sense of urgency, as if the mansion's very moral foundations were at stake. All right, big man. Anything further would only lead to rampant rumors at school about their cruelty. He had to protect the honor of the student council president. It was also concerned for his own safety that sent him rushing to the sunroom. However, what have we got? There wasn't a bird to be seen or a chirp to be heard upon his arrival. Oh, hey. Don't oh, hey me. They're just having tea. A flock of birds? Alice? Who knows if can't see them. There must not be any birds. No birds. Easy fix. Yeah. It was a lie so blatant even Sojiro could see through it. That can't be true. They're fucking with him. The flapping of a flock of birds. Approached the windows with suspicion. No feathers. No evidence. Chicken stew. Of course, Ako would say something like that as she watched Sojiro search desperately. Look at that. I love that face on him. These guys' facial expressions are always the best. I've got you covered if you want sardines. Don't like sardine pie. Not that I've ever had it. Ako's stand-up routine was far ahead of its time. Sojiro backed away from the window and begrudgingly left the sunroom, feeling Alice's all too familiar inscrutable gaze upon his back. What's up, Alice? Just he opened his mouth to ask her what she wanted. Oh, hello. Hi. A blue comet crashed into his head. I see. It could only be Robin, the mysterious bird that frequented the mansion. Shrilled accusingly. The truth was the tiny aggressor that assaulted him just now was the greatest of the mansion's 7 wonders. Was it? Is that new music? I actually can't remember. But all right, we're here now. Oh my god. So sorry. And here we go. Sojiro encountered all sorts of people along his route to work. Still new to city life, he found the crowds of people outside the station utterly fascinating. In fact, they were the highlight of his commute. Now we need to be on the lookout because this chapter is titled Martha. Why is it Martha? No two people wore exactly the same clothes or walked in the same fashion. With so many people, you would think they would all melt into an indistinguishable huddle. But each person he saw was different and unique. Sojiro was excited as a child as he looked out at the bustling, diverse streets of the city. Look at him go. Closing his eyes in shame, he sighed. He was upset with himself for behaving like a bumbling tourist from the countryside. Oh! Daydream somewhere else, a stern and familiar voice behind him snapped him out of his navel gazing. Hello. Hello, friend. I like you. You look silly. Like you look like you could be a silly person. On your way to the Mad Bear, my shift at the convenience store that starts at 5. You? Same, 5 o'clock start. Were you on your way somewhere else? Bookstore, out of stuff to read, look for something new. Both have some time to spare. Why don't we hang out? The girl who greeted him, here we go, was Kojika Kumari, a work friend who was also in the same year at Misaki High. Though it would have been more accurate to say she was looking for a pretext to fight him rather than greet him. To Sojiro, Kumari had been the first person in the city he could look up to. Aww. They'd met at his first job, where she insisted he wasn't cut out to work the register after many mistakes and convinced him to quit working at convenience stores altogether. Aww. In the end, she introduced him to his current job. See, that's great. That's what a real friend does. A real friend goes, man, you ain't cut out for this. You're ass at this. Here, let me find you another place where your talents will show through better, where you'll actually be able to do the job. A much better fit for Sojiro. You look a little worse for wear, Shizuki. Quite a long face. I've never seen you so pouty. Usually standing up straight is the one thing you're good at. Getting bullied by the older guys. You can tell me anything you know. Though her tone was stern, her eyes were earnest. Having grown up in the city herself, she was irritated by virtually everything Sojiro said and did. Nevertheless, she still treated him like an equal. Introducing him to his current job was just one example of her sincerity. No, nothing like that. It's just something strange happened. Something really unusual. Flock of birds? Yeah, he couldn't explain everything. There were no problems at the Mad Bear. He liked it just as much as his other job at Uotatsu, the fishmongers in the shopping district. Nothing to do with work. A blue bird that wouldn't stop messing with him. I see. You're getting pecked? By a bird? Wow. And here I was thinking the world had ended. It is pretty unusual for a bird to be blue, I guess. And that's not the only thing unusual about it. He stopped, unsure of how to proceed. Words alone were not enough to convey the bird's plump body or the sound of its chirping. Wait, hold on. I need a better look at the two of them. Give me a second. God, look at them. I like this dynamic already. He's so much taller than her. Anyway. Words alone were not enough to convey the bird's plump body or the sound of its chirping. There's a beautifully colored bird called a mountain bluebird, but they're not native to Japan. A blue swallow? No, it's more round than a swallow. I tried to look it up in a bird book, and the closest thing I found was a robin. Yeah, but robins aren't blue. You know those blue chicks they have at fairs in the city? Of course you don't. Why would you? Just forget it. Anyway, this robin, is it the only one? Yeah, there's only one. It doesn't seem to have a mate. Feel kind of sorry for it. Last one of your kind since the day you were born, talk about lonely. No idea what species it can be. Maybe you should try being nice to it next time. It might bring you something special. Sure. Her words were perfectly kind, but he could hardly sympathize with the creature after all the painful pecking to which it had subjected him. He wouldn't have called the bird lonely either. If that's all that's bothering you, you're lucky. The pecking is weird for sure. Imagine getting attacked by an army of crows that swarm around the dumpsters. Right. Actually, there was something else bothering me too. Her example had reminded him of the mystery of the disappearing birds at the mansion, a stranger than strange event. See that hill? I actually live on it. I see lots of starlings around there, but for some reason they never come down to town. Well, duh, you never see birds in town. But on a mountain like that, there are bound to be wild animals. Why would you move way out there anyway? I mean, I heard you moved out of your old apartment, but isn't it a pain getting to school? What are you doing out there in the boonies? Things just worked out that way. And the commute isn't hard. If anything is painful, it's what happens inside that place. It took 30 minutes to reach town on foot. The 40 minutes to the nearest convenience store would be the real kicker for most people, but for Sojiro it was no inconvenience. The real problem was the dark forces beyond human understanding that lurked within the grounds. No, I didn't mean to just start complaining to you. No birds in town? Why is that? They failed to adapt to the environment. Animal lover or something? I just lived in the countryside. I guess I do like animals more than I dislike them. Oh, you really don't like them? Kirai, you hate them. Her statement could hardly be more self-contradictory. And it's after telling him to be nice to a bird that attacked him, she was now claiming she did not even like animals. Well, even if you can't stand animals, I'd still like to hear what you know about birds. Can't take a hint, huh? Fine, I need to kill some time until work starts anyway. So like I was saying, survival is all about being able to adapt to your environment. Misaki's pretty big now, but it wasn't always like this. Half of it used to be woodland, which was closer to the type of environment the poor things were used to living in. The way Kumari addressed them was of note. Oh, I have to remember her name. I've already forgotten it. Kumari. I don't even remember her first name. Shoot. It's fine. We'll get there, guys. Don't worry. Trust. Nature ended up with the short straw as the city modernized. Humans always change the surroundings to suit their needs, after all. Diverting streams to get rid of mosquitoes, covering everything in town with concrete, and made the area unlivable for the birds. Without enough bugs or trees, they had no choice but to flee. So, okay. Got it, yeah. Can't be good for the birds at all. That's all it took to get rid of them, never see them again. Not that extreme. You just said you see starlings. Okay, no, so we're just explaining how an animal loses its habitat, right? That's what we're explaining here. Lifestyle changed with the times never truly disappeared. Sojiro's sense of relief was sharply disrupted by a serious look from Kumari. Birds aren't safe. Overfishing by humans, conflict between the birds and their new ecosystem. I doubt they'll last very long. Oh wow, we're doing bad things to the environment. What a surprise. It's already too late. Passenger pigeons. Oh! Never mind, a different kind of bird. Large, beautiful birds about 16 inches from head to tail. That's huge. The males were deep blue with vivid red on their breasts. The cutest part was their orange eyes like some... Kumari, do you really hate animals? This sounds like way too much information for somebody who is a self-proclaimed animal hater. Certain tenderness to it. She was daydreaming about birds she had never even seen in the flesh. Adorable. Type of pigeon native to North America, so they used to fly north in spring and then back south in winter until it got warm again. They used to be the most common higher animal on Earth. 5 billion of them in total. More than humans. Wow. All extinct thanks to those same humans. Settlers from Europe who went to the Americas in the 16th century mentioned flocks of passenger pigeons. Pigeons so vast they cover the entire sky. Those are the oldest written references to them we have. Books are the only way to know anything about them these days. Birds that can blot or block out the sun, cover whole forests. Wow, but for people back then it was more like a nightmare. Together they amounted to a violent force of nature, because of there's so many, yeah. Destroy forests and threaten everyone. Their nesting grounds are up to 6 miles wide, and just one colony could have 50,000 birds in it! So loud! Settlers were scared. I'd be scared. It looks like an act of divine providence. Especially if you don't know how to deal with them. He could barely count the number of people in the crowd outside the station. Far beyond his capacity. Oh, what was his question? How could humans wipe them out? No one back then thought it was possible either. Yeah. Threat, cheap commodity. All the flying was what made the meat of migratory birds so delicious to humans, and all you had to do was point your gun in the air, bang, and there's dinner. I was literally just thinking that. You have like a hunting shotgun or something, you see a flock, boom, they're like above you in some way, shape, or form, you'll get a couple. You have to. This might sound heartless, but the passenger pigeons were a species that could easily be converted into cold, hard cash. Naturally, the hunting went on and on. People would pluck their feathers, stick them in a barrel with salt, and ship them out. It wasn't hunting after a point, just consuming a resource. It didn't feel like work or labor to the people doing it. In those days, you could get a whole passenger pigeon for 1 cent. It's roughly equal to 1 yen. Can you believe it? The smallest denomination of currency in society was enough to purchase an entire life. Alright. Commentary on capitalism, reciting from a textbook. Her voice nevertheless had a certain darkness to it. Was it pity for the slain birds or disgust for her fellow man? Either way, the passenger pigeon's fate was a cruel joke carried out by humanity. Typical, some might say. Poor Sojiro had yet to comprehend just how typical that side of humanity was. 19th century, more popular than ever before. The Gold Rush, the American Civil War, Manifest Destiny and all that. 40 million people living in America. Perfect thing for purses and stomachs. How scheming. They competed to find the fastest, most efficient way to kill. Oh wow, what a surprise. Blind one pigeon and then use it as a lure for the group, sometimes catching 10,000 in a single day. Oh god. Yeah, they're gonna kill them all so fast. She was doing everything she could to speak in calm, measured tones. Sojiro, meanwhile, was completely enraptured by her words. Having been raised in the mountains, it was by no means a happy story for him, but right now he was more interested in knowing why it ever happened in the first place. Something seems off about that. If their numbers were decreasing so fast, the passenger pigeons should have tried harder to avoid humans. That's where they were unlucky. They had really low fertility rates and no means of protecting themselves. All they knew to do was live together in groups. Oh. Shoot. They lacked natural predators. Indigenous people didn't hunt them either, apparently. How could you with a bow and arrow before guns came along? Unless they landed? The settlers wrecked it. Again, big surprise. Yeah, no, seriously, that's so apocalyptic to them. Could just as easily happen to us, really. 250,000 passenger pigeons, that's how many they estimated were still left. Too late. Human habits are too hard to break. Government tried to protect them, but it just didn't work. Taking 1 or 2,000 wouldn't be a big deal in the greater scheme of things. No, that's not many. Jesus Christ. Latest technological breakthroughs, the telegraph to keep track of where the pigeons were. Oh no. 5,000 left. No longer survive in the wild. His face sunk into a scowl, no longer able to survive in the wild. He knew all too well what that phrase meant. No wild animal can last long on its own. No animal can survive without a sufficiently large population of their fellow kind and sufficient feeding grounds to support the group. Strength in their massive numbers was all the passenger pigeons ever had, and so once that was gone, they were as good as extinct. What happened to them in the end, though? Eventually, there were only 3 passenger pigeons left. 2 males and 1 female were kept in captivity at the Cincinnati Zoo. Oh my god, one of the worst places on earth, Ohio. Both males had died. Within a year, only 1 female left. At that moment, when the other 2 died, she became the single, loneliest creature on Earth. Her name was Martha, the last of her species that had once soared over North America. She would never fly free again, trapped forever in her cage. That's a long time for a bird to live. I think, maybe. I don't know how long birds live. At the age of 29, she finally passed. It happened at 1 o'clock on September 1st, 1914. The only case in all of Earth history where we know the exact moment the species went extinct. Wow. What a story! In my visual novel? What? I wonder how they're going to tie this all back. Okay. Swallowed by the machinations of human civilization. She had intended to show her sympathy for the lost species, but the emotional impact had clearly been all but lost on Sojiro. Tried to make it all sound all poetic and tragic, but I guess I failed. Aren't you angry? As someone raised around nature in the mountains? Oh. It was definitely an amazing story, but it doesn't make sense. Why would humans keep passenger pigeons in captivity after working so hard to kill them? Kumari stared blankly at him, eyebrows raised high. What he likely meant to ask was why humans would protect the last of a species they themselves had hunted into extinction. Kumari could hardly be blamed for her bewilderment. Having been raised in a city, she failed to recognize the danger inherent in his cluelessness. He felt neither anger toward humans for their base selfishness nor sympathy for the birds who remained in their natural habitat, even at the cost of their lives. His upbringing had not provided him with the necessary sense of self-righteousness to produce feelings in either direction. You don't get it, do you? My point was that no matter how strong and beautiful animals might look, they don't stand a chance outside of their natural habitat. Think about it, Shizuki. That bird you're complaining about might be the very last of its kind. And with that, the Redo conversation came to an end. So, time for them to go to work. It's not like me to rant like that. Martha, the last of her species, she had not been referring to the blue bird when she mentioned Martha. Wait, oh, I see. But, no, stop it. Thinking something is special just because it's rare is dumb. She rubbed the back of her head, apparently angry at herself for getting involved in something that was, admittedly, none of her business. She and Sojiro were not even in the same class at school. He was a total stranger as far as she was concerned. The more something bothered her, the more she felt compelled to investigate it. It was a personal quirk of hers, and the only reason she had gotten so worked up about the passenger pigeons in the first place. Kumari's well-groomed brow furrowed. She had only spoken to Sojiro to make sure he was doing okay at the Mad Bear. Or maybe, like with others, it was that she had been strangely drawn to him. The more they spoke, the more she felt drawn to him. At first glance, he looks like the last guy you would rely on, but when you get to talking to him, you realize he's really got it together. Amidst her muttered complaints, she recalled their conversation upon parting. So gotten used to everything yet? To which he had given a weak shake of his head. Not at all. There's so many things to keep track of. He was trying his best to keep up with the overwhelming amount of new information every day. However, despite his apparent naivete and frailty, he was in fact trying to learn everything he could. It's the earnestness. It is how eager he is to do this, how he tries to adapt, much like an animal. But at the same time, there's no reason it needed to be so overwhelming in the first place. It was only due to his own naively subordinate frame of mind that he felt compelled to memorize each and every detail. I don't think I'm exactly being subordinate. The fact is, I'm still just figuring out what's right and wrong. Right, but maybe, just maybe... Oh! Kumari stopped herself mid-train of thought, deciding to instead wave goodbye and take her leave. She sighed aloud every time she replayed the scene in her head. Work at the convenience store started in 5 minutes. Alright. Interesting. Neither the energy to worry about other people's problems nor the obligation to do so. Saving up enough money for college, for example. Fighting against her parents' opposition every night. Her parents' opposition every night to what? But maybe, just maybe, it was not like her to get so tongue-tied, she thought to herself under a strained smile. I should have made my point more clearly. I should have flat out asked him if he cares at all about human morality. He really did annoy her. Now in a thoroughly bad mood, she left the park in a huff. And there he goes. Day turns to night, and we're back at the mansion. When Sojiro entered the drawing room after work with a gift of sardines for his roommates, he came face to face with Alice sitting on the sofa. Konbanwa, Alice. Hi, good evening. The sense of familiarity to be able to say I'm home when entering the mansion still— oh, tadaima? Yeah. Tadaima. Fill a bucket with water to keep the sardines fresh, but the icy stare on his back sent him anxiously to the refrigerator instead. Buckets are not allowed in the kitchen, remember? Calmly accepting the change in plans, he shoved the sardines into the fridge and peeked back into the drawing room. Have you seen Ozaki? Gone out somewhere, reply was curt. Cleaning the kitchen. Nothing that he wanted to say. Not a good idea to needlessly talk to her. And cleaned everything. And she watched him. In his streamlined workflow, a rhythm that even the most seasoned housekeeper would be envious of. He would surely notice her gaze before too long. He bent over to store a large pot under the sink when it happened. As he began to stand back up, he locked eyes with Alice, and then... What the fuck? Mayday, mayday, sling your hook, boy? Robin can talk? Make another move, he felt something slam into the back of his head, a bright shock of blue. He knew what it was without looking. So the blue Robin, yeah. Why does it have to start messing with me? Is this the first time we've heard it, like, talk? It usually just chirps. Hello? You see, this little creature that loved to attack Sojiro so was the greatest of the mansion's many wonders, and with good reason. You having a bird bath, mate? You think you're better than me, eh? And what the bloody hell is chicken stew supposed to mean anyway? You got something against a Richard III? Like so. Sojiro had an inkling of what the bird was getting at. For someone raised in the mountains, this was an utter nightmare. Animals were not supposed to be able to talk. Then again, having lived in the mountains for over a decade, he did sometimes feel like he could understand what birds were trying to say. He knew it was just his imagination, but sometimes he thought they even saw him as a friend. That was not the case with this bird. Sojiro had a realist's attitude toward wild animals as a result of being so familiar with them, in contrast to the ever-mysterious humans who lived in the city. It's really talking to me. As much as he wanted to deny the reality he was facing, he could not help but recall Kumari's story. She had said to try and be nice to the bird the next time he saw it. According to her, any rare or one-of-a-kind creature must accordingly feel very lonely. Why is it British? There's no chair in here. Alright, just stand. I mean, I've stood up with you enough for the both of us. Why is its voice like that? It's so shrill. I guess that makes sense, maybe. Sojiro was dumbfounded. Listening in silence to the bird's chatter was his way of expressing his denial. Okay. I'm pretty old, you know, on account of me long career as a ploy. Of me long career as a ploy. What the frick? I've served Miss Alice from when the goddess Mum was around. Don't ask why I'm blue. My best skills are playing the detective and the victim. But my detective side always dies first, so no one can ever figure out who killed me. Yeah, you are a ploy. What does that mean again? Is you asking what I is? What are you? You freak? Sexy or terrified? And thusly, the conversation began between the two most powerless residents of the Konji estate. Humankind and birdkind, able to understand one another after all. Okay, so both parties' guards were firmly down. Soldier was focused on how rare the bird was, while Robin was focused on a showdown with his rival that was to be eliminated at all costs. The angel mom herself, blah blah blah, don't get your knickers in a twist. She's an angel? He did not need to ask what an impressive sign of progress that he doesn't need to ask. Bruv, an angel. That way she's above the hustle and bustle of the masses. The way she doesn't give me the time of day. Absolutely angelic, I tells ya. She's holy and sacred she is, but she's also cruel and inhuman. Pretty fitting for an angel, don't you think? Jesus. God, okay. Alice has a mom. Thought maybe she didn't have any family at all. All the birds in England cried out that day. Her mom was even more smashing than Alice. Got photos later if you like. For only 6pence. This is a British bird, and my accent sucks ass, but I'm trying my best. I gotta learn, to be honest with you. I gotta learn a good British accent. More interested in Alice than before? He was still a young man like any other after all, and she's pretty. And right you'd be, lad. You make some sense for a feral human. Shouldn't go blabbing about people's pasts. It'd make me feel like a heap of dosh. $1 million bucks, you're saying? Our little rabbit and pork. Let me start with the day we first met. Despite her looks, she didn't have so much as a single friend in the world, you see. No, I can see that. No friends at all. Play in that game where you bounce a ball against the wall by yourself. 14 years of memories with her I have, so let me start at the beginning. I just said! Here we go, buckle in, this is gonna get good. This bird was trouble. The word bird brain had taken on a whole new meaning to Sojiro. If he were stuck here listening any longer, he had the feeling he might hear something he would not be able to unhear, and that makes sense. Really got to get going. Gotta move. The most important character in this war, you're not fooling me, that's for sure. What's a saucepan and lid like you getting all Angel Mom's attention? You're all she looks at, I can't stand it. What? Halfway up the stairs already, Sojiro quickly retraced his steps. What did you just say? That whenever Angel Mom has a moment to spare, she starts watching you like a hawk, that's what. And now I remember why I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to make sure you don't go get any big ideas just because she's looking you over with that burning look in her mince pies. Mr. Sonoji? Why does everybody call him that? In some old mirror, you know what's really going on is that crazy rubber and glove that you humans get all Moby Okay, now he's starting to get incomprehensible. I have no idea what he's trying to say. She saved me, Alice saved me? She's also the one trying to kill you, but come off it. She said to save you if you ever were about to get lost in the mirror or get too close to something dangerous. Something dangerous. Not like anyone cares what happens to you. Smash. Unhesitating strike of her hand, Alice squashed the bird right then and there as it sat on the telephone receiver stand in the foyer. Yeah, crushed form resembled a bright rubber ball, like what a child might play with. Still alive. Hey, what's the big idea, Miss Alice? You're killing me. I can feel all the blood in my body gushing out my beak. Aw, she's embarrassed. Ignore everything the bird says. There we go. Nice. Alright. Super confused, but things get stranger by the day. And that should be it, right? Yes! Awesome! Hooray! We finished it! And in good time, too. Very interesting. What a time to be alive. But, anyway, I would go forward, but I kind of don't want to start a chapter, like, in, like, the middle of a video. I think we'll just let that one be as sort of like a standalone side episode. I'm trying to pack more into these, but I also don't have the time to necessarily. So for now, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I definitely did, and I will see you guys in the next video. So for now, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye!